What is up, everybody? It is Nick Dollins and Josh Long back on the microphones here to stretch your brain a little bit and get a little real. You know, we've had some, the last couple shows that we've done have been a little more silly and tequila fueled, and we're going to reel it back in and, you know, kind of talk about some stuff that, you know, really is important, in my opinion. I'd like to segue back into, you know, what we were talking about last time we got on, which is kind of just manifesting and stuff like that. Josh, you probably have a better recollection where you wanted to pick up on that.
Yeah, hello. I am Joshua Long, J. Long, here to bring you high vibrations, beautiful frequencies, and a higher way of thinking. Thank you, Mr. Diesel Daddy Nick Dollins, here on the mic with me tonight. And we are going to bring you some information and some light that's going to change your life. Now, whether you want to bring it with you into your life is totally your choice, and we want to make sure that our disclaimer is now introduced. And what you enjoy from us, I am so happy that you bring that with you. Whatever resonates, take with you. And what doesn't resonate, just leave it there. Leave it behind. Some of the things we could get into might not resonate quite quickly for you, but as we continue to talk about these ideas, concepts, which can get very different, multidimensional, quantum physics, things that maybe you haven't heard of yet, don't get upset. Don't let it stress you out. Sometimes when a whole lot of information comes in, it can be real confusing. But as you continue to follow along with us, you will awaken. You will start to realize that the power is inside of you. And the power that's inside of you is the exact same power that's inside of me and one of my best friends, Diesel Daddy Dollins.
100%. And I just encourage everybody just to wrestle with it. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. And if you get offended and hurt and just say that we're completely full of shit, then you know, maybe you need to...
Maybe there's some attachments you need to let go of.
There's some attachments you need to let go of, exactly. So, man, dive into it. Where do you want to start
All right, yeah, so let's dive in. So the last video, the last podcast we had that was wrapped around, we'll just call this the Ascension Awakening kind of podcast lines, right? You'll notice that we can get kind of left and right with our podcast because we have different styles and different concepts. You know, sometimes we might bring people in for interviews for business and entrepreneurials and all that stuff. And then we'll have podcasts like you're going to see here tonight where we get much more multidimensional. We get into the spiritual concept of awakening and the ascension that we are all a part of here. And so last time we got into the ideas and concepts of what is this reality? What are we inside of? What is the controller to operate this game board is what we called it. And then how to get everything in your environment and in your body in alignment with that controller and game board to be able to manifest things to create the most perfect life. And so tonight we're going to talk about the things that we can practice that begins to raise the vibrational frequency of our body and puts us in alignment with the thought processes we went over in the last podcast.
Awesome. And, you know, in a perfect life might be different for everybody. You know, could just be getting out of a bad situation that you're in. You know, what is a perfect life? And that could also be an attachment that we have to overcome too. You know, what you think might be a perfect life and what you're striving for could be holding you back from true peace. And I think anybody that is trying to, I guess, manifest anything or bring anything into their life needs to pursue peace within their mind, and that's what's going to bring any type of perfect life that you're going to have. So what kind of alignment of things would you recommend someone starting to, you know, start even getting in the arena of clearing their head out?
Absolutely. Okay, so as we spoke about last time, the number one most really kind of important practice or training or even devotion really is a proper term for it, is learning how to let go of that protective voice or the ego or that rambling plethora of different voices inside of our minds, right? So that's kind of the first step that we have to obtain, okay? And really, you're not obtaining anything. You're just arriving at a place that's more peaceful, more silent, and more quiet within your mind, which then in turn allows you to begin feeling what truly are your emotions and what truly is the energy inside of you. And so we're going to go over a couple practices and some things that, I like to put into my toolbox, and some things I've learned from other people's. And again, this isn't what I share with you today, is just kind of my remix of the many thousands of hours and hundreds of people that I have studied over the last 6 to 7 years. And I definitely offer you the encouragement to get out there and begin studying things that you've never studied before. So some of the things through the beginning that I kind of did that kind of helped bring these practices together that we're going to talk about is I went and, obviously there's a lot of beautiful teachings in the Bible, which we're going to have some episodes on that, because we have quite a different view and perspective on the Bible and what it is and truly means. The Buddha's teachings, the Eightfold Path, specifically with the Buddha, was an absolute beautiful collection of teachings, and they're very straightforward. And a lot of people in the beginning, when they're like hardcore Christian or like just religious in general, it's not just Christians, it can be Muslims, it can be anybody, right? But the idea is to pull out of the attachment of religion and be able to see the similarity across the entire game board of creation, across all of the different religions, right? And to not attach or identify with the religions, but to be able to consciously pull out the beautiful teachings of each of these different things and then apply them in your life to be able to experience your own truth and what really is going on here. And that's kind of a really good way of putting it. What we're here to do is to offer you new avenues, thought processes, practices, and different people to study from, right? That you can take little bits of pieces of what resonates with you from them and put it into your own toolbox, and then practice those tools. And then through practicing those tools, you then have an experience. And when this experience is had, you then know your truth through your experience. We're not here to tell you what to believe, how to believe it, what to do, or how to do it. What we're here to do is to share our experience, which we have gotten the chance and the blessing and the opportunity to have, and what came out of it for us. Now, that may be similar for you. It may be completely ass backwards for you. But that in itself is beautiful, because we're all here infinitely intelligent and infinitely different and infinitely the same, all to have a perspective and observation and witness the truth through our experience.
So start out with you as an example, how
yeah, absolutely.
Take some of your experiences and let's make that relatable.
So there's going to be about 1 million of these podcasts, because over the last 8 years, I'm trying to concentrate down into the bread and the butter of what I believe helped me the most rapidly awaken or to have these realizations. And essentially what we're doing here is we are realizing, an awakening, an ascension is the realization or expanse of awareness of consciousness. And through that expanse of consciousness, you begin to realize things, right? And through those realizations, you begin to change and your environment begins to change. And so let's go into some simple practices. The first thing that I like to have someone do, because this really kind of it puts you on the spot, and it kind of allows you to be aware of really where is your attention span, right? And so it's understanding that everything we think, everything we do, and all the emotions we have and the actions that are relayed through those emotions are creating a very specific signal, okay? And that signal is the signal that we're giving the universe or the game board, and we're asking that universe to repeat and to reflect that signal in its entirety back to us, okay? And so it's like, okay, well, how then, Josh, do I figure out what my signal is, okay? And so the practice, okay, would be to take a piece of paper, and you're going to write a timeline. You're going to just draw a big line right through the middle of the paper, okay? And whatever time you wake up, say you wake up at 8 a.m. every day, I want you to start that timeline at 8 a.m. And then, it doesn't have to be specific, but whatever time you go to bed, typically at night, maybe it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever. Whatever time it is, it's probably pretty consistent from night to night. I want you to end the timeline with that time. And for 7 days, okay, now this is the tough part. It takes work, guys. This takes work, it takes effort, but through the work and the effort, you arrive at nothingness and doing nothing with no effort. Okay? It's all a paradox. Everything is inside of itself and backwards and forwards and up and down and left and right. So sometimes it might be a little confusing, but again, just keep following along and things will begin to pop off and that awareness and realization will begin to funnel in.
So why would nothingness be the goal in that?
And so the nothingness is the goal in that, because when you can arrive at at absolute peace and nothingness, right, you neutralize the game board and you neutralize the manifestation and you neutralize everything that is happening without your awareness, right? And it puts you in a position to have a clean slate. Okay, and when we arrive at the clean slate, then we can choose the thoughts, we can choose the emotions, we can choose the actions that begin to manifest the desired reality more accurately and more rapidly. But before we get to the place of neutrality and nothingness, we're typically in a scramble. Our attention is from one thing to the next. Our emotions are up and down. We react through our emotions, we react through the anger, we react through the jealousy, we react through the judgment, right? And so we are giving all of these random ass signals to the universe to give us more of that experience specifically. And so the first step is becoming aware of what are the signals I'm putting out, okay? And so now we're going back to the timeline. So we got a piece of paper. Let me write this down. All right, so we got a piece of paper. And we're going to write a timeline on it. All right, and it's just going to be a real simple timeline. So say we wake up at 8 a.m. and we go to bed at 11 p.m. Okay? Timeline. Very simple. Okay? So you're just going to write that timeline. Okay, and then what I want you to do for 6 to 7 days, okay? I want you from the time that you wake up. So say I wake up in the morning, I'm in my bed. What's the first thing 99.99999% of people do? They roll over and they grab their phone. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if that's you, that's okay, right? We're becoming aware of our signal and what's creating and manifesting our world around us. So at 8 a.m., I'm going to, right below that, look at phone and surf social media. That's pretty common. Okay. Now this can you can write this on like a real nice notebook and you can make it real neat and organized, right? As you just start to get into this, you'll realize how to kind of organize this better. That really doesn't really mean anything. The idea is that you can look at the timeline and go, oh, okay, hey, at 8 a.m. I wake up and I roll over and I grab my phone and I surf social media, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that instantly what's happening is you're taking information in from social media, which is information that's being projected that's, pretty low frequencies. Obviously, there's some high frequency things on social media again, but again, we're not really focusing on that. Our attention is moving from one concept or one idea to another, and it's through that scrambled, rapid movement of attention that we're giving a scrambled signal. Okay, so say now at 8:30, I get out of bed and I go shower and get ready for work. You'd write that, 8:30, go to bed or get out of bed, go get in the shower, get ready for work. One of the things that I want you to focus on, though, is what types of thought processes are you having while getting ready? Okay? Mm-hmm. Are you worried that, your boss is just going to climb up your ass? Are you worried that you're not doing your job correctly? Are you happy that you're alive and you get to experience life? What emotions are moving through you and what kind of thought processes are moving through you while you're getting ready for work, right? And so you'd have your little line, 8:30, getting ready for work, and then down below it have a little section to where you can notate what type of emotions, right? What type of thought processes that you're going through during that time. This is a practice of becoming so hyper aware of every thought and emotion and energy that's moving through you that we're now writing down this timeline, and we're now observing the thoughts, actions, emotions that are moving through us through our daily waking state. Okay, because we have two states. We have a waking state, or we have a non-waking state or a sleeping state. Then we have our waking state. And there's a special transition between being asleep and being in the wakening state, and then also at the end of the day from being in the wakening state going into the sleeping state, which we're going to get to after we finish our explanation of the timeline. And so, okay, so say now at 10 o'clock, I head off to work, and I'm in my car and I'm driving to work. Okay, again, during this time period, maybe it's a 30-minute drive, what type of thoughts are you having? What type of emotions are you feeling? And being able to tap in and become aware of these things and be honest with yourself. As you start to observe your day and your signals, you're going to start realizing like, oh, wait a second, like, I'm thinking some pretty negative thoughts. Like, these are some pretty depressive experiences. Or it could be the complete opposite. Man, you could be the happiest camper in the world, having a great life, and everything's just working for you flawlessly. And there's actually a lot of people that are just naturally in that state, and those people naturally manifest good things. But even they aren't aware that it's happening. And the idea of this training method is to become aware. Whether it's negative or positive or neutral or wherever it's at, are you aware 100% of the time during your waking state in that motion? Okay, so far, Mr. Dollins, do we have any questions?
Yeah, so let's say, somebody, like I wake up in the morning, I scroll social media, I grab McDonald's on the way, listen to Eminem on the radio, and get to work where I don't want to be. How does that really affect my life and pull me away from this state of nothingness that we're trying to get into?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, well, that actually, it's doing quite a few things other than pulling your attention away from nothingness. Okay, so the McDonald's breakfast on the way to work, right? Mm-hmm. That's an extremely low vibrational food frequency. It's poison, essentially. Now, we're not here to bang on anybody, because we all have smashed down the breakfast burritos and the pancake sandwiches and the double cheeseburgers with Big Mac sauce sometimes. And shredded lettuce. The fries. I've been seeing these
putting
things.
Shredded lettuce on the breakfast sandwich, though?
Bro, yeah. The double cheeseburger, dude. That's the best way to get it. It's a double cheeseburger with no pickles. So add Big Mac sauce and shredded lettuce.
Okay. We're derailing the conversation here.
Okay, so anyways, and so right there, that's an awareness, right? Then that's a signal. Like, I go and I get my McDonald's breakfast or my Starbucks coffee every morning, right? It's a routine. Or my energy drinks and gas station, breakfast tacos, whatever it may be, right? Mm-hmm. That is something to be aware of, because the vibrational frequency of that food or drink or whatever it is that you're putting into your body at that time of day is a part of the domino effect of the vibrational frequency, okay? Mm-hmm. And so that would be something we write down. At 10:30 on my way to work, I get McDonald's, and I eat 3 breakfast burritos every day, or I get a venti ice white chocolate mocha from Starbucks every single day, right? Listening to Eminem, here's another one that you threw out, right? The music that we listen to. What are the words in the music? Is it talking about pimping and selling drugs and hooking up with bitches, and are you like, what is the music? What is the vibrational frequency of what you're receiving? Now, we're all 80s babies and grew up in the 90s, and so we're the hip hop era, man, right? Mm-hmm. And so that hip hop kind of still lives through us, and I would dare to say that 90% of us have hip hop music, old school music, the new hip hop playing constantly in our environment, between home and work and gym, and even at the gym. And so music in itself is weighing in tremendously on the vibrational signal that we are projecting. Now, when we project something, it can be something that we're projecting internally to the external, but it flip-flops, remember, because there's only one thing here, just you, and everything is a reflection. Everything outside of you is a reflection of the inside of you. And so the music you listen to is a projection of your reflection back to you. And so when I talk about projection, I'm talking about both from the inside out and from the outside in, okay? And so we would write this down. Yeah, I listen to hip hop music every day on the way to work, and I grab my Starbucks coffee. Okay, and what kind of thoughts am I having during this time period, right? We want to really get in tune and touch intimately with what kind of energy am I feeling and what kind of thoughts am I having whilst I'm doing all of this.
What kind of thoughts should somebody be having?
So, well, the idea is to have no thought, but people might have some thoughts of, the next bill that needs to be paid, and they don't have it. Mm-hmm. They could be thinking about the conversation that they had with their friend that upset them, and they're very angry about. It could be relationship, boyfriend, and what is he doing or not doing, or what is she doing or not doing, and am I good enough for him, and did I pick the right clothes to wear today, and what is everybody going to think about me, and all these different infinite amounts of thoughts and down talk, right, can take place during these times. And again, you could also have very encouraging thoughts. There are already people that are at a very high level of vibrational frequency that are also on this ascension and might be previewed and more aware and open to this information. And so right now we're talking about the people, right, that need the first kickstart out of being asleep into this awareness that we're in this ascension and that we're all awakening to our true essence, which is divinity, love, and infinite intelligence. That's what we are. And so that would be kind of like our morning stage, right? So we write all those things down. And maybe at the time you can't write all of your thoughts and feelings, but at the end of the day, make your notations for what you're doing, waking up, looking at social media, getting ready for work, leaving for work, getting Starbucks, playing Eminem music, arriving at work at this time, okay? And then when we're at work, right, just make these small notations throughout the day. Did you have a bunch of interactions? Were you kind of just by yourself all day? Kind of go through some events that, something pops up, someone calls you and they're talking about another event in life, right? Oh, I had a conversation about another event in life, right? Write all these things down. And then the end of work, right? Notate, okay, I leave work at 7 o'clock. I go to the gym, right? Am I in a habit of being on my phone while I'm in my car? That's one. Right? Constantly looking through things while I'm driving. Like, my attention can't be just on driving, can't just be on the music. It's got to be looking at social media at the same time. And I've got some idea or concept about something in my life that's going on. So I've got 4, 5, 6 different signals all taking place at one time while I should really just be focused on driving.
Yeah, that's great that you said that, because it sounds like everything that we're doing just from this morning routine that we started is a way to distract from something that you feel like you don't want to be doing right now. You don't want to be waking up, so you grab your phone and start going through reels. We've all doom scrolled reels, but somehow It wakes you up. You wake up, you get ready, you blare some music that somehow just distracts your mind, whether you feel like it's negative or positive, because you don't feel like driving to work. It's a place you don't want to go. So I would say, like, when you're identifying these things, it sounds like it's for a process of finding the true emotion of what you're really trying to avoid. And I think what we're trying to avoid is creating distractions to live in the here and now. And you were talking about the thought processes of, is so-and-so not going to like me or whatever. And it's creating anxiety about things that aren't even happening right now, and we're using all these things around us to distract from dealing with these emotions that are in front of us. And I think from what I hear and what you're saying is getting to a state of nothingness would be to be able to find peace and not having these anxious thoughts of, I don't want to go to work, is my boyfriend cheating on me, or whatever that is. And I feel like we use the cheap and easy food and the music on the way to work to kind of just push that back in our head to somehow get this fake sense of motivation to get through stuff that you feel like you have to do but don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So how would somebody take all that morning of avoiding the current moment? What would be the perfect morning routine, and what what would you be thinking? What's your day
Yeah.
life? How did you conquer those anxieties and emotions?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so back to our timeline, right? We draw this timeline out and we start making all these notations throughout our day. When we get done with work or gym and we're heading home, we want to write all those notations. I get home, I eat dinner, I picked up fast food again, I'm on my way home. I get home, and we typically have the same routine we do every single night, right? We're creatures of habit, okay? And we like consistency, and we like to be comfortable, and the body likes to take the path of least resistance any point in time that it can. That's just natural, okay? And we have to understand that. So we've gone through our whole day and we've made all these notations of all the different events and things that have happened through the day. And so at the end of the night, what I'd like for you to do is to take this timeline and get a journal out and start at 8 a.m. and go, okay, so when I did wake up and I looked at my phone, what were the thoughts that I had going on and how was I feeling? And like you said, when these thoughts of like, do they like me? Do they care about me? How it brings in the energy of anxiety. Right. And so the idea of this timeline is to become aware that those thoughts and those energies are there. Because until we do something like this or have these conversations, we're just being lived by the signal. Okay. We're not actually living and creating the signal. The signal is living us and creating through us because we're not in control yet. Okay. We don't become in control until we become aware that these things are taking place. And your first time that you become aware, first couple days that you begin writing down your timeline and your signal, you're going to start becoming very aware of what is creating the life in reality around you, because the signal we put out on a day-to-day basis and the environment we choose to live in, the food we eat, the music we listen to, the scrolling and surfing of social media, the people we talk to, the people that we choose to love and not love, the things we choose to judge and not judge, right? All of these things throughout our day is the signal that is creating the current life you are experiencing right now. So I get the question, well, like, how do I end up where I'm at right now? Why is life doing this to me? And why is everything just always working against me? Okay, well, this is it. It's your signal. It's the daily signal that you're putting out. Mm-hmm. Are you aware of what you're doing? Well, no. All right, cool. Write down a timeline on a piece of paper and start marking down all of these things that you're doing. From the food you eat, to the music you listen to the social media, the time you spend on how long were you on social media for, right? And you're going to begin learning what your signal is. And through that process of learning what your signal is, you are now paying attention and giving your attention to the awareness of what energies, thoughts, actions, and deeds you are doing throughout the day. And so again, I know that's a lot, but it's actually very simple. You just have to get a piece of paper and you just have to be disciplined in writing these things down. And after about 6 or 7 days, you're going to be very familiar with your habits. Okay, that's step number 1. Okay, becoming familiar with your daily signal, energy, thoughts, emotions, and habits. Right. Well, the next question is like, well, Josh, how do I change my signal? How do I create a different manifestation and a different is identifying and becoming aware of what your daily signal is. Okay. And
signal to what?
The signal to the universe to give you or manifest to you what you're asking for. Okay.
Gotcha.
And so the environmental signal, the vibrational frequency signal, the what type of food we eat signal, that's a signal. It's an energetic signal. When we eat food, which is energy, and we are energy, we are what we eat, right? And so
100%.
that becomes an emanation of our frequency, which would be the signal to the universe to give me more of what I want. And so like with food specifically, if I choose to go eat a fast food or a McDonald's or something that's dead, it has no nutrient in it and it's pretty much filled with poison, right? And I consume that, well, I'm lowering my vibrational frequency, and the state of vibrational frequency I am is the signal I'm giving out to the universe to give me something that matches that vibrational frequency. body. And so a lower poisonous type of food would probably produce a vibrational frequency of sadness and anger and things that just happen that aren't in your favor, right? Versus if I'm eating for, say, maybe a more healthier organic type of diet, right? More fruits, veggies, organic meats, bison, stuff like that. My body vibrational frequency is going to be at a higher rate. And so that'd be the signal that my body is putting out. And so I will receive events and happenings and things that match that, which are going to be higher in peace and love and joy and happiness and things that happen in your favor, right? And so that's kind of like what we mean by signaling, right? When we're signaling the universe, so we're talking about our vibrational frequency. And so step one, right, was the timeline. We went over that pretty thoroughly. I want you to spend 7 days writing down every single thing that you do, every event that happens, and at the end of each night, hold that timeline up, get you a journal, and go through each event from the time you wake up and just try to reel back what type of thoughts were I having, what type of emotions were I feeling, were they good, were they bad, how did they make me feel, just as intimate as you can get with your own timeline and your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts. The idea is that we're now just becoming aware, and we're placing the lamps of the body, the eyes, and our third eye, which is our awareness, on our vibrational frequency and signal, and becoming aware of what it is that's creating the world around us. Okay, so that's the first step, writing it down, 7 days. This is going to take effort, okay? Because what's going to happen is you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh, I rolled over and got my phone. You're going to make your notation, and then you're going to go get ready, and the next thing you know, you're going to be at work, and you're going to have left your timeline at home, and you're going to get busy, and you're just not even going to think about it. Mm-hmm. And that right there is what we're trying to become aware of.
Yep.
Okay, because the body is just going to run, and you're just going to move into your habits, right, that you're already in, that you're already addicted to, right? What we experience in life is what we're addicted to. Just remember that. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you to become aware of. And so if shit is happening to you constantly, that's because that's what you're asking the universe to give you, and you are addicted to shit happening to you.
And that's what you tolerate.
And that's what you tolerate, okay? And so, all right, well, Josh, hey, how do I change the signal? Okay, well, this is the best part. This is really easy, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of paper out, and we're going to draw a timeline. Preferably a different piece of paper than your other timeline. All right, and you're going to write it out the same way, 8 a.m., and I go to bed at 11 p.m., okay? And so now I have 2 timelines. Okay, and so say on the first timeline down here, right, I can, on my bottom timeline, I'm going to have everything that I already do and I already know, and I've already intimately dived into that for 7 days, and this is my timeline that I currently am living and emitting the signal of. Okay, and so my life, though, with this timeline, it seems to be that I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. Or my life is that I just can't find a relationship of love because I get cheated on all the time, and nobody really wants to be with me, and I never can find anyone, and they're all the same, and blah, 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 right? This original timeline might be a life that, you just can't quite find favor in your life. You just can't quite get to that next level. You just can't quite obtain the things that it is that you're really wanting to obtain, okay? And so we now know what is manifesting that because of our consistency in writing out our timeline every day and spending time each night reviewing over what were our thoughts throughout the day and what were our feelings, and how does that make us feel. Okay, so now we're going to change the signal, right? And this is how simple this truly is. So at 8 a.m., instead of getting up and rolling over and grab my phone on my new timeline, which is going to be a higher vibrational frequency life and experience and manifestation, instead of getting my phone, I'm going to roll out of bed and I'm going to sit in a chair for 30 minutes with my eyes closed and practice meditation. Okay? And so what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the signals out of the original timeline that maybe don't quite make the mark of high vibrational frequency, and I'm going to replace them with an activity or an event that is higher vibrational frequency. Okay? And so if I just only changed the first thing I did every single day, If instead I rolled over and grabbed my phone and surfed the web for 30 minutes, I rolled out of bed and I sat in a chair and closed my eyes and just calmed my mind and meditate for 30 minutes, right there I've changed the signal. Okay, now here's the key. It has to be every day the same time that you're doing the signal. And so for now, the rest of my life, my new signal is I get out of bed and I sit in a chair and I close my eyes, I calm my mind, and I meditate for 30 minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes. There's not any importance of time markers. The importance is that instead of me rolling over and grabbing my phone and surfing the web and reading my emails and seeing what all worries I have of the world that I have to accomplish, I get out and I sit down in a very calm, peaceful state of calming my mind and meditation. So right there, I've now changed the signal. And so as the days go by, even with just doing that one change, the world around you will begin to change. It will begin to manifest something that is different than what you're currently experiencing. And so the challenge, the study, the practice is to go through your old timeline, and any event, any thought process, any emotions that you have that were of lower frequency vibration, I want you at the same time to create something new. And so, hey, maybe it is, and when I come home from work or I come home from the gym, instead of, going into my normal routine, whatever the signal may be, I take my dogs on a walk, and I just kind of spend some time with nature, and I create an intent that, I'm going to go be in nature and be one with nature and bring my animals and spend time with them and feeling what their energy is like and seeing how happy they are when they're out running around and playing around, right? And so instead of getting home and smoking my bowl immediately every single night at the same time, right, I get out and I walk my dog, right? And so I took something out that might be a little bit lower vibrational frequency, right? Not saying that weed is all so bad, right? There's time and place. But then I replace the signal with something that's going to bring a higher vibrational frequency, which is anytime that you can get in nature with the trees and the animals and all of that, the nature is of extremely high vibrational frequency or projection of your reflection. And by going into it and spending time in it and walking through it, you're absorbing that higher frequency vibration. And so you're starting to emit a new signal, a new habit, right? And that will then begin to change the world around you. And so spend some time, first 7 days, going through your current events, happenings, timelines, people, conversations, thoughts, emotions. Once you do that, then you're going to take all the positive things that you like out of this. Maybe there's some beautiful high frequency positive things in this. Go ahead, put the positives up here. But then any of the negatives or the lower vibrational frequency habits, music, music. I listen to Eminem in this timeline, but in this timeline, I listen to instrumental music or classical music or EDM or something that's more pumped and high vibrational and love yourself and do right? I change the signal by replacing the frequency of what type of music that I'm listening to. And so now that I've got a new timeline, right, written in, I'm going to begin with discipline following this timeline every single day, okay? And through consistency of day to day, doing the same signal and the same time over and over and over, which are going to be different than what you were doing in the past, then your world will begin to change around you. And what this practice does right here, okay, because you only got to do this in the beginning, okay? This is just to help you wake up and to be aware of what you're doing and when you're doing it and why you're doing it and like how you feel when you do it. And then how to make a change in what you're doing and how that will instantly begin to reflect in your reality around you in a much more beautiful place. That was a ding for yes.
Yeah.
That's
sorry.
That's God's way of going yes. Ding.
That's a knowledge pot right there. So we got 10 minutes left. Okay, so that's a lot to kind of laid out the floor plan of what you would be able to do, day to day to create a life that you want and change your current habits. But let's make that like where were you at when you really kind of hit the point in your life where I was like, I really got to start doing something different. I got to figure out, like, diving into myself to figure out why I'm actually at where I'm at and how do I change it. Because what you laid out is a great process to get out of there. But I think what a lot of people have problems with is, one, being truly honest with themselves, being sick of their current situation to the point where, like, I'm willing to change anything in my life, So what point in your life did you kind of hit a wall to help other people understand, maybe they're here right now and they just need something to, like, fucking stop doing what they're doing every day?
First off, it's important to know that where you're at right now is perfect in its entirety. Okay, now I know that you're hearing me say that, and you're like, well, Josh, you just said that if I'm living a lower vibrational frequency, I have the ability to change it. Okay, yes, you do. That's because you became aware of your lower vibrational frequency habits. But it's important to know in manifestation that we're always perfect right now, okay? And then through our awareness, we begin to align our actions, thoughts, and deeds, right, that match that knowingness. And so for me, each and every person is going to be different. Some people are going to have a real deep catalyst. They're going to be in a real dark place, and they're going to hit rock bottom. And that rock bottom, right, is typically what causes that instant. They come across a video like this and they go, oh, wait a second. You mean there's a pathway, there's an avenue out of this. And it's very simple in the beginning, right? It just takes a little effort of focusing and becoming aware and writing it down. Someone like me, I've been very, very, very blessed in my life. And many people are very, very, very blessed, and they're in very fortunate situations. And we all came here, and prior to coming here, we planned out what we were going to do. This is what we came here to do. And so if you're in a dark place, that's because that's what you came here to do, because that is what's going to evolve and elevate your soul more rapidly than any other experience. And so whatever experiencing you're having right now, just realize that it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And that experience is what causes the want or the need to change. If you don't want to change or you don't need to change, well then, hey man, you do your thing. We love you and you are perfect as you are. But if you're looking for something different, there's something inside of you that's saying there's something so much grander about you and what you are here to do and what you have to offer the world. For me, it was moving from a state of selfishness and attachment, because I've always been a happy guy. I was very aggressive younger, so I did some negative, low vibrational frequency things, but for the most part, I always kind of lived in alignment with higher vibrational thoughts. I knew I was the best. Now, there was an attachment to that. There was attachment to me knowing that I was the best, and, it can kind of turn into a really self-driven ego type situation. So for me, it was that I was in this alignment, and with the people that were around me were very high active caliber individuals, right? And people around me were high active, low vibrational frequency individuals, right? That were all go-getters in their different realms of life. And it just came a time to me to where I woke up to that ego, that mind, that caused me to place judgment on things around me and why I was the best and why I deserved those things. And so for me, it was kind of wakening up to that ego, right? That voice. Now that ego voice we all have inside of us, and it attacks us or it projects us at different levels of vibration. And so for some people, it's dense, it's dark, it's depression, it's suicide. For some, it's relationship, jealousy, trust, right? For some, it's not having the willingness to do things or to just accept what happens. For some of us, it's not being able to move out of a state of neutrality into a state of happiness, right? There's all these different levels of vibrational frequencies that you can find yourself in. And so the idea of this training method is to locate, where is my vibrational frequency? Am I kind of like, is my life kind of resonating around depression? Or is my life resonating? Am I neutral? Like, I don't really feel anything. I'm just numb to the world, right? Am I there? Or am I just kind of like, you know what? Like, I'm at a state of willingness and acceptingness, but I don't really love or feel loved, right? Which is a little bit different vibrational frequency. And so everyone is going to be in a different place, right? And so exactly what happens for me doesn't always translate to what's happening to you, but what these training techniques are is for you to become aware of where at on the vibrational scale is your life. Because once you become aware of where you're at on the scale, you know what the next step of vibrational frequency is. And so now I know that my attachments are revolved around this thing. And so I look, okay, well, what am I jealous of? Oh, well, why would I be jealous of that? So if I can learn how to let go of the attachment of jealousy, well, then I naturally raise to the next vibration. And then I know that, okay, well, now I'm in a vibrational frequency of neutrality and willingness. What am I holding on to or attached that's not allowing me to fall into joy or love, right? And then we begin to become aware of that. And so through writing this timeline down, you will become aware of what is my natural state of vibrational frequency. Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it worry, doubt? Is it neutrality? Is it pride? That's a big one. Is it pride? Is it neutrality? Is it acceptance? Is it willingness, right? We don't know until we begin to become aware and observe our timeline in the signal that we are putting out through our habits of consistent thoughts, actions, deeds, and emotions. And so I'm going to leave you with that. And I encourage you and would like to offer you the ability to take some time, draw your timeline, make your notations. Maybe it starts slow in the beginning, but just get back to it and get back to it and get back to it until you can really map out, what did my day look like? What does my week look like? What do my thoughts look like? What does my vibration look like? Because that is the beginning to awakening to who you are.
And when you can control your thoughts, you can control the whole world around you. You can bring whatever you want into your life and get rid of anything that you want. Yeah, I think that's how we achieve what we're really wanting to manifest. Is when you have everything you want in your life and realize that you actually already have everything, that you really don't need anything. And choosing to manifest more money is not going to raise your vibrational frequency. Anything in this world that you're trying to pursue after is actually probably going to bring you down the more you try to make that your goal. So I would say, whatever you're trying to bring into your life, it needs to be nothing but peace. Getting back to nothing, and being nothing is having absolutely everything, and also realizing that you're already there. So the point of raising your vibration is really all internal, and it's all about bringing peace and then taking other people along that ride with you. It's never about how much money you have or what you really have to offer. It's about serving people with being completely still. So I'll like to close with that. So
absolutely.
Ladies and gents, that is the Diesel Daddies today for a quick one. We will be back next week. We love you. Vibrate hard.
Oh, yeah.
Peace out.
Diesel Daddies out. We love you.